Hello and welcome to the NDTV Dialogues, a conversation of ideas. And who better to discuss, well, the idea of cinema, his new movie and lots more than a special guest, defined often as a superstar of our times, Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh, thanks very much for joining us.
No, thank you very much, and I'll be at my best behavior, and I won't have the swag that I had many years ago when we did our first interview. And
that was also dignified. 2 in the morning, Shah Rukh.
Oh, okay, so just the timings don't change.
Okay. No, not much else has changed, because you're still, of course, King Khan for generations, and I think that's absolutely amazing, actually.
It's kind of you to say.
So how does a king act in a movie called Zero?
You know, there were two parts to this. One is, I don't know if, before I realized I became King of Romance and King and Badshah, but genuinely most of the characters that I played, being from a very, if not humble, just a common background, coming from Delhi, going to Mumbai, I'm not part of that business at all, neither was my family. I've always been attracted to more common roles, where the logic always, or the thought always has been, it's not special to be special, it's special to be ordinary. And I think common men and women, when they do small deeds, see, there are obviously people who in the international field, sports, politics, everything, they are creating some great waves and creating records. But I think everybody, billions of people around the world, who are simple, common people, they must be doing simple, common things, and I think those achievements are heroic for them. Heroism is overcoming your own obstacle. So here was a film where we took 3 parts of complexes people have. One being, say, a physical complex, where you have a vertically challenged person. We have the most intelligent woman, so to say, as a character in the film, who's got cerebral palsy. And so she has motor control issues. And then you have the most beautiful woman in the world, who's got some emotional incompleteness. Now, to take these 3 characters and say, without feeling any empathy for them, without asking for from anyone, let everyone know that each one of us, of course we are filmmakers, commercial filmmakers, so there's an exaggeration in the opposite side. Instead of larger than life, it's smaller than life. And say that all of us are incomplete, either by virtue of what people tell us, which is a lot nowadays, or by virtue of just what we think. When we're growing up, oh, you didn't study hard enough, oh, you didn't pass, oh, you should have been this, oh, you're not as good as your dad, or your brother, or your sister. There is only one life. And if we are able to realize that these incompleteness is in everyone, nobody's perfect. And instead of wasting time in trying to be what you could be, should be, would be, can be, maybe not, can we just go on to the only given that Allah, God, Bhagwan has told, one life? Can we start celebrating it? And instead of thinking you're the odd one out or the strange one out, can you be unique? Because that's how God must have meant you to be. And Zero to me is unique. If it's on one side, it increases your value. If it's on the other side, it decreases your value. On its own, it's nothing. And if you look at it the other way, it's just a complete whole. So I think the whole idea is that, of course, none of this philosophy is in the film. It's just an entertainer, and you can just laugh your guts out and have a good time.
No, but Shah Rukh, it's interesting because the Zero you described, that ordinary man you described, was when you first came to Mumbai. But in between, I think when you became King Khan, all the movies, your fans came because they wanted to see Shah Rukh Khan. They may have seen Raj, or they may have seen who you're playing, but they want to see Shah Rukh Khan. How do you actually put Shah Rukh Khan behind you in a movie like this? How do you bury Shah Rukh Khan, the superstar, and play a dwarf, was vertically challenged, the politically correct way to say it?
I just feel, that people have seen me on screen as Raj, Rahul, Kabir Khan, or Sunil, or Devdas, or Don. And then they have figured out a persona for me, which is rightly so and correct for them, because that's what they see, larger than life. And more often than not, even if I'm playing a loser, there is a larger than life looseness to it. It's not just a simple little issue that might happen. So you have a hockey coach who's lost the greatest match ever, and then now he wants to make up for it and takes the Indian women hockey team to the World Cup victory. I think that persona has genuinely, and I've said this often enough to you also, I'm not at all, that persona is called Shah Rukh Khan, because now that's the name given, so I can't fight it. And strangely, it also happens to be the name of the actor who plays Shah Rukh Khan. So I've really always thought that I have never, ever, I'll be honest, I don't have the demeanor to really play a larger than life hero. I've never played a policeman in my whole career. I've never been given a job of this tough guy who walks in and beats up 20 people. Even if I do, it's in fun. In Don, he's doing it smartly and outsmarting people. So I'm not that, larger than life hero material only. I did my six pack and all, and then I had my director just take it out and dance to Darde Disco instead of showing it off in a macho
Bashing
way.
up people.
Yeah, so I've never really thought of myself as, if I may say so, the hero type, the Hindi film hero type. I've always thought of myself bringing in a quality which is common. Zero appeals to me. The character appeals to me. I feel that. And I think maybe that is the reason that maybe larger than life persona of this myth of Shah Rukh Khan that I work for is likable, but somewhere inherently in it, I think people recognize that, ye to hamare jaisa hi hai. Because I'm not being modest, I'm not being humble, and you know that I would never be that. But my logic is, I've really never thought I'm good looking enough to be a hero type. I've never thought I'm tall enough. I've never thought I'm strong enough. I've never thought I have the voice enough.
After nearly 2 decades in the film
After 2
industry?
decades, yeah. And when if it comes to dancing, don't even begin to ask me how bad I am. So when I see everybody, I'm like, listen, but I'm going to make do with this. I'm going to be somewhere very ordinary, and I'll make that ordinary less special. So I think my characters say that. So it's not difficult for me. Okay, let me be honest. Nobody offers me those kind of roles which are larger than life. They offer me, the guy next door, and even maybe the posher love stories that I've done with Karan, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, or Aadi Dilwale, which was more earthy. Even if they're larger than life and in New York and stuff, I am the orphan kid in the films. I'm the guy who the father doesn't really like and all. So there is this inherent, ordinariness to the characters I play.
At this stage, are you open to challenges? That's what you're looking for? Because in a sense, are you over those phases, the Kejo phases of those kind of movies, the Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, the early phases? Are you bored of that kind of romance now? Are you looking for excitement? What does Shah Rukh Khan look for today in a movie?
I always have, from day one, whether I did Dar Bazigar. Sometimes the image overtakes you, and it's wonderful. I'm famous because of that. I'm rich because of that. I have a lovely family which is taken care of because of that. And I really enjoy my stardom. I love the people outside my house. I love people recognizing me. I love people not allowing me to stand in a public area. I love it all. But having said that, I was always looking for, I'm a semi-theater kind of actor who really believes a character needs to be played. I remember initially when I told one of my directors, मैं character actor बनने आया हूँ, नहीं यहाँ पे नहीं बोलते character, आप hero बनने आए हो ऐसा बोलो. But within that, garb of hero, I've always wanted to, within the parameters of commercial cinema, try to be a little different. I mean, it's a template. Commercial cinema is a template. So I try. Sometimes I fail miserably. Sometimes I succeed wonderfully. Sometimes the template also works. Sometimes the non-template is loved and liked. So I've had those moments. 27 years I've been working. It has to excite me in the morning. Otherwise, there's no need for me keeping you awake at 2 a.m. Why should I be sitting here at 2 a.m.? I could be lying in a jacuzzi with rose petals and read some poetry or watch Netflix.
And this is some fantasy, I hope, or does it happen in real life?
No.
This jacuzzi with rose petals.
The only for the Lux ad. The day it happens, I guess I will not be as excited.
You'll be retired then, probably.
I'll be retired then, yeah.
But do you feel now freer than you ever have before? As you said, 27 years in the film industry is something. Do you feel freer now than ever before, or do you sometimes feel that in a sense is also a tougher phase because the challenges are different, the movies, the new heroes on almost at your tail are now different? Is it a freer time or a more challenging time?
It's both. It always has been. It's a freer time because the choice is mine. As long as you are going to be in a position to choose, then it's freer time. You just need to make the right choices or the wrong choices. That's freedom. But the responsibility or the issue remains the same for the last 15 years, that I've lost two really important qualities which I had. One of them is the freedom to fail and the ability to surprise people every time. Because once you've reached a certain level of likability, these are the two things that get taken away from you. So it's like you can't fail anymore. And you want to do a different film like Fan, and it's sad because obviously even I know the level that it's going to be made at or where it will go in business, but people assume that this is not good enough for him because he's such a big star. And the ability to surprise people, because once you've had a certain level of excellence, if I may say that for myself, because of the cinema people have given me the opportunity with, the ability to, ye acha hi hai yaar, to Shah Rukh to acha hi hota hai. So how do I surprise them? So sometimes it's a physical transformation like Zero, sometimes, or like Fan, or it's a character transformation like say Rais, where I play really quite a hard-nosed criminal instead of the stylish, sexy Don. So I guess these two things worry me. And sorry, I didn't mean to ignore that part of the question with the younger heroes. Or I don't know. I work with the younger heroines, so they need to worry about that, not run after my tail.
Do Fridays still worry you? I mean, we had even an Amir Khan movie which has an Amir Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, Katrina Kaif, everyone possible, which still flops. Do Fridays still scare Shah Rukh Khan?
No, Mondays worry me like everybody does. Everybody's scared of Mondays. That's a tiring day because, see, with all due respect, you reach a certain level where those days people, audience is respecting and coming in hordes and trusting more than anything else, you know. And I think no actor ever decides of the caliber of Amir or Salman or nobody ever takes it upon himself to say, you know, I'm not going to let you trust me, I'll break your trust. Everybody wants it to work. Sometimes your best is not good enough or is not acceptable at that time. Those things are important. But to me, it's the Monday. Did they really enjoy it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday goes as a daze or in a haze of the myth of Shah Rukh Khan and his film, you know, the madness and the numbers are coming, and I don't look at any of it. I kind of just go to sleep. I don't deal with it. I don't call the office. I never have. Monday onwards, I can sense it. I've been in the business long enough to know, yeah, this is making people happy. If it makes people happy, it's a good Monday. If it isn't making people happy, then it's back to work for the next one.
How does the human Shah Rukh exist within the myth?
I've got lovely 3 children. And I've got a wonderful wife and a sister. And I'm very few people know this, but I'm quite reticent and quiet in personal life. You know, outside there is this whole exterior euphoria that surrounds my persona, and I walk with 7, 8 people, and I go and outstretch my arms, and I make everyone laugh, joke, because that's the entertainer in me. At home, I just want to be entertained with chips, colas, little children, movies, and cuddles. And at home, nobody takes me seriously as a star. It's a very wonderful thing that my wife has achieved, that she's never let the stardom come into the house. And maybe because of her, I realize I never took it home. So nobody knows me in the house as a star. They know me as a father or a husband or a brother. And, you know, like anytime the worst part is that I can't throw even a minimal tantrum at home. Because if I do something which sounds like Rais's voice also, ki, "Arey, ye kisne kya?" So it's like my daughter will come, who's a petite little 17, 18-year-old, and she says, "Oh my God, S, R, K is in the house." And they start teasing me. So I have to be extra normal than even a regular father. So I can't even be like a regular father and be a little stern at times because, you know, everybody in the house takes me. I mean, you can't take your father seriously if he's romancing in Switzerland with girls half his age. So, you know, they don't take me seriously.
Of course, and what's going viral, but which is nice, is a very rare appearance of you dancing with your wife at the Ambani wedding, which has now gone all over the place. You once said you don't mind dancing at weddings, but this Ambani wedding was something.
No. This is very personal, to be honest. They're very old friends of mine. And what happened one night, there was, I think, at the engagement, and late night, I'd gone, and I always go at 1:32 everywhere. So I'd gone there, and you know, I was feeling happy. Some good things had happened. I think Amir was also there, and this is some months back, and I started dancing. And all the young girls from both the families, the Piramal and Ambani, they started dancing with me, and I was dancing about 2, 3 in the morning. And I think my wife and my mother-in-law was there. So I think to save me from further embarrassment at 3 a.m., because I was dancing, my shirt was open and my whole team was there. So I think Gauri kind of joined in. कि हम लोग ऐसे ही हैं, हम normally ऐसे dance करते हैं 3 बजे. So I think Neeta Bhavi and Mukesh Bhai, they noticed her dancing, which they've not done. She was a semi-professional dancer with Shama. She used to dance on stage for him for 5 years as one of the leading dancers, and she loved dancing. And me and Gauri really loved dancing when we were younger. And now I do it for a paycheck, so I don't do it otherwise. And, you know, it looked a little stupid, Gauri and me dancing all the time. So when they saw her, they insisted. They say, you know, you dance or you don't dance. And I'm like the godfather for Isha. So you dance or not, but we have to get Gauri because we've never seen this. So she was shy. 15, 20 years later, now she's dancing on stage. So I had to dance with her. And the worst part of dancing with Gauri is that she says, you can't get the steps wrong. None of my heroines have said this to me. You know, they're like, Shah Rukh, don't worry, you get your steps wrong, we'll manage. But here I was, she said, you can't get your steps wrong. I'm dancing after 15 years. I'm very nervous. But it was really thrilling. Actually,
it was great.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice for Abram to see the mother and dad dance at this age.
No, and now both your children as well. Aryan being launched next year apparently by Karan Johar, and Sohana also studying acting. You're not the father who actually thinks that maybe this is a tough profession. Do I want my kids to be in it? Are you excited about them being part of it as well?
You know, this comes to me as news every time that my son is being launched and my daughter is being launched. I have a minimal educational qualification in the house. This is the only thing I'm strict about, so to say, which is you have to be at least a graduate. You can't live in this house if you're not a graduate. So my daughter has just finished the school. I mean, she will in March. And then she's doing 4 years of college. She does want to act. But acting does not mean in films. Acting means acting. So I would like her to do theatre. I would like her to try out every aspect, every other platform. But in an education of, in an atmosphere of education where she gets to succeed, fail, learn, flop, rise, not with this big, long shadow of her father being a Hindi film movie star already. She wants to act, which is beautiful that she wants to act. I love the fact that she wants to act. And I think she's quite fine as an actor, and I'm not really biased. But she has to learn. My son doesn't want to act. My son wants to make films. He writes a bit, and he writes quite well. And he writes all those kind of films are right now like the quirky ones that I write and work in. So he's writing, and he's learning to be a film director-writer, which again is another 2.5 years. Then he wants to intern, and then perhaps make a film. This is my, he's my setup for the future. When no big director wants to work with me, I'll bring my own big director.
Yeah, sure. Shah Rukh, in so many of your interviews over the years, you've really come across as so intelligent, but actually as someone who hides a bit of that intelligence and focuses very much on your films. You only talk when your promotions are on. Why is that? Why do we not see the Shah Rukh who was a school topper, who was an all-rounder, but now a Shah Rukh who's focused so much on just films, on just his films at a time? Otherwise, we don't see you, or we don't hear from you.
When I don't have the time, you know, I'm mostly on sets. I do finish one film. It takes me a long time to finish a film. And then whatever little time I get now with the kids and all, I like to spend with them. Thirdly, I don't know what topic to talk on because I do hear a lot of babble all around and people are always talking and, you know, many a times I've noticed that even if I'm in a place where I would like, so I try to choose those kind of platforms. You know, sometimes if I have to talk, is it going to be misinterpreted? And that's not the fear. That's not the fear. There are two things. One, is anyone really wanting to ask me something else apart from chanya chanya? And if you are, I would like to. And is my point of view really important in other matters, rather than the matter in which supposedly, or at least I believe, I have some expertise now, which is filmmaking. So people do talk to me about films, which I'm doing. But in the larger context of cinema also I can speak. Other places I have to study myself. And, you know, if there is a proper platform where people will give me an opportunity to explain my point of view, not get bored. 2 nights ago, I was in Lucknow, and they had this conversation with me, which is about, you know, passion to paycheck kind of a conversation, question answers, and I'll chat. And obviously, with due respect to them, instead of having 200-300 people, where I can genuinely speak about my passion, they had 2,000 people called. And they were all standing there, and half of them are not really interested in listening to Passion to Paycheck. They just want to see me do lungi dance. And I respect that, and I love that. That's what I do for a living, and that's what I love doing, entertaining people. So halfway through, I'll be talking, and when I started my career, you know, there was this, this was the thing, and I said, 1 second, lungi dance, lungi dance, lungi dance, lungi dance, lungi dance, and I loved it. I really enjoyed myself. But it can get boring for people, so you have to choose the audience. So when film people or film journalists ask me something, I know they just want to know the answer for the film, or did you not attend that party, or was your look in the airport not right that day? Why are you wearing the same shoe today? So I'd like to answer. I enjoy that. It's not that I look down upon it. It's a level of interest you have in things personal to a star. But I don't get so many opportunities, to be honest, to speak my mind out. So if they call me at Yale or Edinburgh, not saying I'm not exalting them to a bigger position, but if I get an opportunity, like I got in my kids' school, they say, please come and say a speech to the kids who are going out and let them ask questions. I enjoy that. But otherwise, I don't know. There's so many topics to speak on, and I'm not really an expert except cinema.
But you don't find that sometimes actors live on a planet Bollywood which seems completely removed from what's happening. So often, in fact, it's said nowadays that why is it that our actresses are much more vocal than our actors?
How do I explain that without getting into trouble?
I don't want to get into you in trouble at all.
No, I think sometimes what happens is, because of now so many platforms for people to comment on, which is good. Social media is really wonderful because it's given voice to everyone. But sometimes the voice is not really thinking the context of a speech or an answer or a conversation somebody has. So if for example, if I was to say something to you, "Arey, wo kya batayega humko?" Suppose you ask me, give us some tips on being a good father. I say, ye karna chahiye, ye karna chahiye. This is quite possible. A guy says, how can he be a good father? He's a Bollywood star, he doesn't have time and he's freaking out with girls all the time. Which is a point of view, wonderful. Deep down inside, I'm also a father. I can explain it to them. And it can just, there can be 17 other people who want to join in that voice. And before you know it, something you really meant from the heart. And when you say, I'll disagree on that actors and actresses from Bollywood are on planet Bollywood. I think they're very aware. They are extremely conscientious and conscious of where they are, what they're doing. Most of them are from very humble backgrounds. So they really respect what they've got. And some of them are just wary that, we might say a few things in fun. We might have a joke with someone. And suppose it does not get, reflected as we wish it to be. So sometimes you say, listen, I would rather, I can sit and talk with you or in a platform where you are present. It is becoming journalist dependent also now. I'll be very honest. I'd like to speak to a like-minded person, not questioning your intelligence over mine or more or less. This person will understand what I'm saying. Won't think it is a matter of just a joke. What I said, it was a matter of fun at that time. So I think sometimes you get wary and you wait. Then look, I've also got a social media presence now, which might not be as big as journalists have or television has, but I'll put my point of view there. It is going to get a little personalized like this as we go along. And the people will say, I have my own platform, I'd rather put my point of view here.
No, and I think that's the wonderful thing that of being Shah Rukh Khan, of being Bahua Singh, and of course of Bollywood, celebrating it, and your 27 years in the film industry. Shah Rukh Khan, thank you very much for speaking to NDTV. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.